I'm at. My favorite restaurant in America, Medieval Times, bitches. Tap in. We're about to go insane. VIP at Medieval Times. You're not VIP when you go to Medieval Times. I am. Let's go. Red Knight.
So fly, I'm aligned with the planes. My grind so refined, I got no time for no games. Ask yourself why would I make time for you lames? At all costs, cause I'm a boss. But break them off, yeah, gotta break them off.
Well, it wouldn't be the Prime Time with Alex Stein show if we didn't have major technical difficulties. I don't even know if we played that whole video. Brandon, Jimmy, is everything okay back there? You got to talk into the microphone so the audience can hear you.
Yeah.
Are we good?
No, yeah, we're good. I don't know. Some of the black magic voodoo is still catching up to us.
I know, dude. I mean, I didn't even introduce our guest yet. I just can't believe we're having so much trouble. But I want to introduce, guys, a guy that I call a very close personal friend, a guy that's had the Department of Justice weaponized against him, a guy that loves this country and a guy that loves the Lord, and I know is a good person that's being illegally persecuted, in my opinion. But that's just the way it is, sadly. Welcome on Luke Coffey. Luke, how you doing?
I'm glad to be here, buddy.
Are you about to get emotional? Are you going to get emotional already?
I take it back to 3 years ago where, you were just a small little pup before you had the full blown up show. The full blimp. You were still a pimp on a blimp, but it was a very much smaller blimp called Conspiracy Castle.
And you were on that show. And guys, a lot of people that don't know your case, even though I know you've gone viral, Luke, and they've done multiple stories, just not everybody knows everything about January 6th, but you actually are one of the more famous cases because you were an actor, you were on Friday Night Lights, you were a producer, you lived in Hollywood, and so you've gotten a lot of scrutiny because on January 6th, what did you do? How would you describe what you did on January 6th, Luke?
Well, first off, I was there as a filmmaker. I was there to document the day. I was also going to be,
You were on my podcast.
I was podcasting.
They played it in court.
They did. Luke Coffey versus the United States of America. Alex Stein is all over that transcript for multiple times.
That's crazy.
Along with some of the clips from our drive out there. But I went out there as a filmmaker to document the day. Also, play these various characters. What was funny back then, I would call into your show
as a character,
as different characters,
because you didn't want to be too controversial.
I've worked as a commercial director in the advertising business. I didn't want to out myself as a crazy conspiracy theorist, even though I very much believed all the stuff the conspiracy asshole was saying. So I would call in at these various characters. My redneck one, my I think Coffee Man was the Reverend Rapper. That was one of the ones where. Nobody knew I was actually a white guy, but I was the
yeah.
But I on the way out there, I brought my buddy Brady at trial. Said when he picked me up to take me to January 6th, we drove out there. I had a bag of all my costume gear, and it was for the Conspiracy Castle. All these wigs. I mean, my trial. So I'm 128 plus days past my January 6th trial. And again, I went out there as a filmmaker. We're still waiting on a verdict. It was the Honorable Judge Rudolph Contreras.
And we want to say we love you, Judge Contreras. Please show, if you watch this, Judge Contreras, I just want to say, as a character witness, Luke Coffey is an American hero in my eyes. I'm not saying that as a joke, even though we like to joke around. He's really just a normal guy from a middle-class family. His dad is a pastor. He's not some super rich guy. He's not some hoity-toity elitist. He's like the most normal guy that I know, even though you're very abnormal in a way. I'm just saying, you are a normal American guy. You're not a criminal, no criminal history. You've never ripped anybody off. You've always been nice. You have some friends who are, very affluent people. You run around in circles where you have a lot of respect, and they're showing you so much disrespect. It makes me sick.
Yeah, so everyone needs, if they aren't awake to what a PSYOP January 6th was, then you need to do your research. There's plenty of films out there that documentaries. I went to one that's a great film that I want to plug called The War on Truth. It's Chris Bugard and Nick Searcy, who's a conservative actor. I went to the premiere here in Dallas on Friday. But the legal system has been weaponized against patriots. That day and just to quickly give my summary of what I went up there naively just to film what I saw was a very patriotic day. Some of the greatest people I'd ever been around, and you know, were there at the Ellipse. I think upwards of 2 million people were there. I was filming, interviewing people, and it was a mix between like a 4th of July festival
and like a concert, kind of, right?
Yeah, 4th of July festival meets a concert, like a music festival, and kind of a revival all in one. And I spent most of the day at the Ellipse. You never see that in the mainstream media. How many people there was? It talks about in the Bible a sea of people. There was a sea of people, the most I've ever seen at the Ellipse that day, going all through the Ellipse up to the Washington Monument. And I mean, so I wasn't even planning to go to the Capitol, nor did I know anything was going on. I didn't make it up there until about 4 o'clock. And that's when I was literally walking up through a sea of boomers singing Amazing Grace as projectiles were fired into a crowd. That was aggravating, and there were people praying. Like people were confused. It was what is going on here? And then what happened was people were tear gassed in a tunnel, pushed down a staircase, and there were women crying out. And I had no plan to insert myself, but there was women screaming out for their lives that had been pushed down a staircase under a pile of 3 or 4 people, you know, and there were good men that were trying to de-escalate and stop what had went on. There was a woman named Roseanne Boylan that I was told was up at the top of the steps. I didn't know she ended up being right to my left of my foot, and she died that day. We all know that Ashley Babbitt died, but there was another woman named Roseanne Boylan. But I'm saying stop and pray. My faith is very important, and that's what's got me through a hellish.
That's what I'm saying. That's what makes me so mad. Is this Judge Contreras needs to understand is that you literally grew up in the church your whole life, and you're so faith-based. Your faith is the most important thing. You've even always said that. When I was so crazy, you always bring it back to the Lord. So that's why I'm like, do you think that the Lord is testing you? What do you think that? Honestly, I mean that. Like, what do you think is God's plan for you with all this?
Well, I believe God is sovereign, meaning He's providential over all things. He allows suffering. He allows brokenness. So just as, you know, people say I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, I don't believe that. I believe God put me there. And I think part of my mission is to expose the truth and expose the darkness and lies from that day. As Christians, as believers, God is the author of truth. Satan works in half-truths or partial truths. That's what the media does, honestly, both sides. They give you part of the truth so you get in your camp, or, you know, we get Coke or Pepsi, by the way. You get 2 choices, you know, as you know, and then you have RFK coming in trying to break up the 2 teams. But for the most part, you know, we're seeing people divided in the most extreme 2 camps, right? But I believe that God has me, you know, He allows suffering and brokenness for the good. You know, Romans 8:28, He works all things for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. And I know I was there that day, and this woman, I heard the voice of God say, go stand in the gap and to be a peacemaker. And, you know, what they did in the media, they turned me into one of the poster boys for the insurrection. Nobody's been charged with insurrection still to this day. And we're not domestic terrorists. I'm not a white supremacist, all the lies they've said about me. And I was exposing back then where I did feel called, working in the advertising industry. I worked in propaganda. Commercials are propaganda. Yeah. I directed commercials that made you feel like you needed something else, or you need to lose weight, or all the different products they're selling. We're being propagandized, you know, in the American, to be divided, you know, to make us hate each other, and not look at those that are actually the root of it is Satan. Okay, Satan is the deceiver, and so that being said, I believe God has put me in this position to speak truth and to speak about Jesus, but also to expose the lies and propagandized media that people are still. I have half my family. You know, my step-grandfather was chairman of the DNC under Carter. And so my grandmother's friends with the Clintons, and half my family, my liberal side, my Austin side, thinks I'm a radicalized domestic terrorist. You know, Texas Monthly did a hit piece, told all these lies or partial truths. And that's the whole thing, is God gives us discerning eyes, and if we ask for the Holy Spirit to come in us, He will make clear the lies versus, you know, the half-truths. I mean, the truths versus the half-truths.
Well, when you say it's a psyop, though, what do you mean? Like, did you see government agents there? Do you think
I saw it. Well, the fact that I walked up there, one of the people that warned me was being careful that day was you. You thought something was going to happen.
Yeah, I said that before. Yeah,
you didn't want me to even go. And I was like, no, man, I want to go. And I had another buddy who's a naval intelligence officer say, Luke, they could turn this around on patriots because this was such, they knew that, I went out there because I heard there were going to be more people that day than
Had ever been there,
had ever been organized and I believe it was. I mean, I've never seen that many people in my life. And so I wanted to go and I had incredible 4 hours, 5 hours of interviews with just great people in all walks of life, all different demographics. It wasn't all white people. There were mixed of every creed and color. And what I saw was, it was a beautiful, it was like everything you love about America. So, and then to have it twisted, and by the time I got back to my hotel, it's worse than 9/11 and Pearl Harbor.
And they were still able to reconvene and vote. I mean,
exactly.
They were still able to certify the election.
So yeah, and I mean, it's twisting. It's basically why January 6th still matters is, one, there's 1,500 people and people, there's 1 to 3 people still being arrested every day. There were 6 people in Fredericksburg, 6 women in Fredericksburg, Texas that got arrested last week. I mean, this is 3.5 years since January 6th. They're still arresting people. And we've seen the videos, like to not look for the truth at this point. I mean, you got to be under a spell, and a lot of people are, and blinded by, you've picked your camp in their narrative. Go watch the HBO documentary, and then go watch, this New War on Truth, or Epic Times has 2 great documentaries about January 6th. There is the video evidence alone, and why are they hiding it, Alex? Why are they hiding? Still, they haven't released the footage.
Well, and then my biological stepfather, Tucker, basically saved Jacob Chansley because they showed Jacob Chansley, he got paroled, I think, because they showed the footage where he was just being given basically a tour of the Capitol. I mean, he wasn't threatened. The cops were leading him around. So
no, there's a woman that they nicknamed Praying Grandma. She's a great grandmother, 74 years old. A lot of people have been scared. She didn't want to take a plea deal. They scare you, the federal government. I mean, my trial is Luke Coffey versus the United States of America. And I joke that I've played a domestic terrorist on television multiple times, and I've played a prisoner.
We're on Walker. What show did you play the domestic terrorist? I don't remember.
A show called Chase with
I remember seeing that clip. Yeah,
Hauser.
So you played a domestic terrorist?
I played a Branch Davidian.
David Koresh guy.
Yeah,
but tell me this though, because a lot of people, always deep in the conspiracies. Some people thought January 6th was fake, and I don't agree with that. I'm saying some people thought it was in a movie studio or something.
No, I had a troll lady that is she thinks that because I'm an actor, I'm a Fed, like I was playing this role up there.
Casted by the FBI.
Yeah, cast the FBI, and I never really went to prison. By the way, I've never been arrested in my life. I got some great prison stories, but I went to prison 45 days. It was very dark, but God was with me, like he was with Paul and many of the others. God is always with you during the storms, but it was dark time. I mean, but I had this woman I had to block her on several social medias because she was like, you're a psyop, you're a fake character, like you have an IMDb page, you're an actor. And I was like, I know, but I
really was there. I know, it's crazy.
I sat in prison for 45 days and got out of my cell 6 hours in 45 days. I mean, that was not real. And I mean, not fake. So, I mean, that was real as you can get. So, and I think because I was speaking out, on the way back, I came from behind my costumes and out as Luke Coffey on the drive back, going live on your podcast and on Facebook, which they nuked my account in 3 days because I was saying this is what they're saying in the media versus what I saw and all the witnesses saw. They took violence, they took little pockets of violence, and that's what they focused on. I saw film crews. I saw that, the reason that I walked up there was it was like straight out of Central Casting, Stein, that they had they said, people are dying inside, we need patriots, and I was walking back to my hotel. I wasn't even going to the Capitol. And that's what I was like, that's bullshit. And I didn't believe it. So I walked up there looking with my, with scales off my eyes, looking for any, irregularities. And then there were the same men that were walking away from the Capitol saying, we need patriots up there. There's people dying inside. Grab your weapons. And by the way, many of these people have never been, they've been identified but never charged.
Ray Epps.
Ray
Epps
Epps
tried to charge him with some little thing.
He took
a plea deal.
Sweetheart deal. Then they had the scaffolding commander telling people, grab your weapons and move forward. There was not one weapon found. There's one guy that's
supposedly shot a gun. And he was an FBI agent. Yeah, and supposedly he had the post where he was an FBI agent.
I mean, the show trial that the American people, I'm saying both sides got fed a complete lie. It was a made-for-TV show trial where it was complete. People were manipulated, and what the media doesn't, the legacy media that is bought and paid for, doesn't walk back the lies once they're exposed. They don't say, "I'm sorry." They don't come to, they
don't say, "Oopsie, I was wrong."
Yeah,
they just double down.
That's what's frustrating is those boomers that only watch Fox or CNN and MSNBC and don't watch social media know that there's shows like your show and there's
a
counterculture media that's spreading the truth out. They're still buying the lie from the show trial, and it's just. And literally, these people are your neighbors. These people are your grandparents, your brothers, your sisters, your buddies that have their lives turned upside down. I'm just one story, and this has ruined my life. It's been a dark 3 years.
It has.
It's turned my business upside down. My reputation has been the hardest. Go ahead.
You'll come back, but I wanted to have. Do we have Lectern Guy on?
Yes, we do.
Okay, let's put Adam on. So this guy is one of the most famous January 6'ers. Adam, what's up, dude?
Hey, what's going on, Alex?
Yeah, the show, us three. So, Adam, I want to have you on because you are one of the faces of the insurrection, and this is a very good friend of mine. Luke and I went to the same high school. His brother and I were teammates on the football team for years, a guy that I grew up with, and he was there for the same reason that you were. I mean, he was documenting it maybe a little more than you were, but he wanted to see what was happening, and now he's waiting on his sentencing. So
I'm waiting on a verdict.
Waiting on a verdict, excuse me, yeah. So tell him a little bit, can you reassure him and tell him that everything's going to be okay, even though he's in a dark, dark time right now?
Well, I'm listening to your interview. So, Luke, this is the first I've seen of you or heard your story, but it seems like you're in a good, healthy place. I mean, if God is your foundation, you're going to make it out just fine. I assume you have family and friends. I know when I was in, I got letters every single day. They were actually sending in so many books, they had to send them back because you don't have so many books in at the same time. So, I mean, it's definitely not, an enjoyable experience, but if you're going in with an attitude to just learn and take some stories with you, I mean, you were there for 45 days. I mean, some of these people there will give you great stories and give you some great insight. And I don't know, changed my mind on quite a bit of things.
Well, I'm just so worried, too, because Luke is not a criminal, dude, and neither are you, Adam. I mean, you're freaking, let's just be real, you guys are just white guys that never committed a crime. You guys really aren't built for federal prison, but like, if he does have to serve some time, tell him what it's going to be like. Can you give him a little insight, what it would be like?
Well, the cooking's the best part of it. I mean, honestly, it's the weekends are great. I'm not sure where they're going to put you, whether it's going to be a low or a medium. I was looking at the charges they brought against you, and it's probably going to be a medium or a low if I had to guess. But, you work throughout the week, and then the weekends come, everyone comes together, you cook food, cheesecake, there's moonfungo. Do you know what a stinger is yet?
No, I don't. But I think where I was put first sounds a lot better. I mean, a lot worse than where you were. We didn't have any cheesecake, and we had hooch, and I mean, there was.
Did you drink any of the hooch?
No, I did not. But we had like the worst. I mean, I was in a condemned prison in the middle of Texas, like in small town Texas, and I was the only J6’er in there with all high-level felons. So it was a little different story, but that sounds like more of a country club type experience. So I'm hoping for that.
Yeah.
But I'm praying first that all.
What? I will pray for that as well.
Yeah,
I'll pray for that as well.
But tell the stinger. But the stinger is what you plug it into the wall, and it's a wire that they can heat up food. That's what a stinger is, correct?
It's the bottom plate of an iron. So they take a trash can, they insulate it with old T-shirts, duct tape, and they drop a stinger in a bucket of water, and you can actually cook food, rice, fish, whatever comes from commissary.
Yeah, did you make some prison pizza in there? That's what that's the big deal.
We made prison pizza.
Yeah,
we made burritos, we made moonfungo, ice cream, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, so basically, the food we had in Limestone County Detention Center, a federal holding facility. By the way, where my guard was, meth mouse had he was passing drugs the whole time, and all there were 8 of us in a 15 by 30 cell, and it was still COVID, so we didn't get tablets. We didn't have you shit, you eat, you sleep all in the same area, and we got to go to the yard 6 times. And it was mainly brothers and my Mexicano brothers, too. Yeah. I mean, the white guys were,
few and far in between.
Yeah, few and far between. But when you got to make prison pizza, that was you actually got flavor. So it was like what you take is the best parts of commissary and just throw it all together and throw it in the microwave, and it's a disgusting delight.
But those are the moments, though. The rest of the week is awful, but you get those little moments where you feel like maybe you're not in prison for the 15, 20 minutes you're cooking, you're talking about sports.
You cut out. I can't hear him anymore. Oh gosh.
I will say this guy, I've seen your story before, and you always have I think you have God in your heart, because you
100%.
You have a joyful attitude. And I mean, from the first picture I saw you holding the lectern, you just had a joy that came out of you. And I think a lot of people that have God with them has this optimism and joy in their heart. So did we lose him?
No, I don't know if we might have. Adam, are you there? Can we hear you?
I can hear you.
Oh yeah,
just
I got
fine.
you. Yeah, we got you fine now. I just went out for a second. No, Adam's he's the most positive guy that I've seen when it comes to January 6th. And because the government said he can't make any money on his name, he won't even have a soda. When he comes here, we try to give him a soda or a bag of chips. He won't even take it because he doesn't want to violate any sort of probation whatsoever. But okay, tell us though, you made a deal, right? So Luke didn't make a deal. He went full to trial. Well, how did your plea deal work? What was your specific case?
Well, I was very early on, and so it's a blessing and a curse, right? So the modicum of infamy that I have, because I got arrested so quickly, they had not really set sentencing rates and what they were going to do with all of us. The entire the felony they're giving everyone for disrupting a official proceeding, right?
1512.
That hadn't even no one had even had the 1512 yet. So it was when I got arrested, I had the felony theft for moving furniture. I had the and 2 misdemeanors. My attorneys told me,
you didn't take the lectern home with you, right? I mean, you just picked it up, and that was theft.
Yeah,
because you moved it. Okay,
moved it 20 feet. Yep. It's equivalent to moving like a can in a grocery store and realizing I don't think I need this anymore.
Exactly.
Wait, and then tell me this though: they charged you with a felony, but you only served a misdemeanor. What was it? Did you have to admit to a felony though?
No. So the lawyers told me, look, if we get through this as quickly as possible, we can get the felony dropped. We can beat that. It's going to be a plea deal. You will have a misdemeanor and you will go to prison, because you're either going to get the felony or you're going to prison. It's one or the other. So the attorneys were very, very honest up front. So we beat the felony, beat 1 misdemeanor, ended up with 1 misdemeanor for entering and remaining in a restricted building, so trespassing.
Right.
And I did 75 days in federal prison for that.
Wow.
Damn.
Did they try? What were they asking? What were the prosecution asking the time they wanted?
They wanted 90 days.
Okay.
So the judge took 15 off. And then I was supposed to get 2 weeks out early. Judge even said it in the courtroom minutes, but they just forgot to give me those 2 weeks out.
Adam, did they make you, this is when early on, I mean, my saving grace was when I was, checked in to, and I was waiting for basically 45 days for the judge. The Dallas judge released me on home detention. I ended up being on home detention for 20 months on an ankle monitor after I was out of prison. But they wanted to go to the upper courts and have a DC judge decide. But when I got put in, the night I got put in, I was on TMZ because I work in the film business. They had, producer actor Luke Coffey, was put in prison for his role in January 6th. But the prison watched religiously TMZ and this rap channel, which I think is, we can get into that later. There's conspiracy behind that. But the darkest rap stuff you ever seen. I mean, it just glorifies gangbanging. I know,
like Travis Scott is murdering people at his concert.
Yeah, it's a channel I've never seen, but it's like glorifying gangbanging and being locked up. I mean, it's just like they're playing this So anyway, but I got some street cred. They called me Hollywood or the insurrectionist, basically, because I was the only J6’er in there and 3,000 people. And so, they saw me checking in. It was like, man, you coffee, right? We saw you on TMZ. N-word, and so.
N-word.
Yeah, so they actually, I had these black guys that I'd work out with, and one of the dudes he was like, man, I played with a Luke Coffey out of Highland Park. He was a running back. And I was like, man, that was me. Can you just keep that to yourself? So we got a silver spoon. Highland Park's
a shit, it's a nice neighborhood. No, so they try to expose you for being a rich kid.
No, but they were my buddies.
Your dad's a pastor. People don't realize he did grow up in a nice neighborhood, but you weren't rich. I mean, come on.
But my point was, they were like, Coffey, you got to pick a team, man. And I knew what they meant. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, you got to pick a team. You got to roll with either the white boys or, you can roll with the Christians. And I was like, man, I'm just going to ride with with Jesus, man. I don't need to pick a team.
Mm-hmm.
And, and all the white guys in there, I had the Nazi, neck tattoos. And they were like, Coffee, we got you, man. We got you. And I was like, no, because all my cellies were all black. Most of them were black guys that were, proud to be gangbangers. So I was like, I'm not rolling with him. So I just wondered if they made you pick a team, as they say, when you were in there.
Well, we called them cars in prison. We couldn't say the word cartel because that'd get you shot. Yeah. So we called them cars, right? So they definitely do self-sort in prison. That is definitely a real thing. But as far as I was concerned, I talked to everyone. I was there for the stories. I wanted to make sure that I got a conversation with as many people as possible. Why are you here? What happened? What's your story? And I know the one thing that everyone agreed on was sports. So if it's playoffs, it doesn't matter if it's the black TV room, Puerto Rican TV room, white TV room. Everyone's allowed to watch sports together. Yeah. And it was kind of like the thing that just brought everything. Was that how your place was as well?
Yeah, well, we had every cell had, 8 guys, 4 bunks, 2 guys a bunk. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like I said, it was COVID regulations, so they wouldn't let us out of that cell, but like 6 times to go to the yard. I remember multiple days, I would just walk like I was in a dog run back and forth, like 15 by 30, like back and forth. And then we made some water bags where we'd lift and do, just have some exercise. But we'd watch, we rolled in, the 3 of us that got moved in the cell, the 3 brothers controlled the remote. So we had to and I got into them with a couple times because they'd
over the remote.
Well, over the remote, but then also hotbox. They were passing drugs. I mean, I saw the inner workings where I was. It was a dirty ass prison. I mean, they were
smoking weed
there
like
was
that.
Meth.
It was
meth. K2.
Yeah, K2 is what K2. They make it out of cards with the paint from cards. So then they stop allowing you get cards. They smoke the card paint.
They make K2.
Yeah, and the guards are passing it. I mean, they have
they'll smoke roach spray.
They have like different. They'd be they have their own language. They'd be like, and then this guard would bring and drop a drug bag down. Like it was crazy, man. Like I played a prisoner, and I played a domestic terrorist. But that's to get through it, I was like, okay, I'm just kind of in this prison TV show, and I'm cast as one of the prisoners, and so it was, and I had 2 cartel guys that were proud cartel guys, 3 gangbangers, and this like career criminal that had been in since he was 13 in and out of prison, who had the worst gas, by the way.
No, just
and I have a sensitive gag reflex, so I was dry heaving a lot from his fumes. But they would hotbox the first bunk I was on top of. They would hotbox and go smoke this K2, which is basically has it has like PCP, the same kind of effects as PCP. So it makes these guys out of it. And I was like, and so I had actually these 2 Hispanic guys that had rolled in with me. So we were the newbies in our cell. And I was like, hey guys, can y'all not smoke that? Like when I'm trying to sleep, can you do it like during the day or something?
And they said, no, shut up.
Like, Coffee, I got 8 years, man. You got maybe 3 more weeks or 3 more months. Who knows? You just a crazy insurrectionist, and so they would, So I got into, they kind of came up and he was like, I'm 28. I killed 2, MFers. Man, you just pushed against some cops with a crutch. And I was like, you think you gonna come up on me, man? I'm gonna smoke the K2 all day long, brother.
Damn.
And so I got up and it was like, I don't care if I'm in here 2 more days. I have to smell your shit, man. But I had my 2 kind of chubby Hispanic guys backing me up with his 3 buddies, or 4 guys. So that was the closest I got into.
It was the most terrible time of your life, and now we're kind of laughing about it. So
no, it wasn't. I wouldn't say. I think the darkest has been the isolation. I mean, I actually, the isolation I've been on home arrest, and just, also losing your reputation. Adam, you've been through this. What they've done to people's reputation. We've been convicted in the public square. I mean, we're already guilty. That's why all these trials, the American people should know that the fact that our trials are in D.C. when it's a 99.4% conviction rate with a bench trial, it's 100% with a jury. I mean, that's why people are scared into taking these pleas, because these people, the D.C. people think we're insurrectionists, we're terrorists. We don't have a chance of justice.
No, they don't. I don't believe they even think that. I think they need it to be true.
They need it to be
So in
true
order
for
for
the
it to be
narrative.
true, they have to show that it's true.
Right.
Right. And to show that it's true, take plea deals. Like everyone who signs a plea deal does so under arrest on January 6th. They do it under duress every single time. But, to your point that they're trying to drag us to the public square and make us sound like awful people, that's why it's so important for us to continue to speak and continue to stay positive. It's why I smile, because I didn't get it nearly half as bad, even a quarter as bad as a lot of people are getting it. And if I'm not here smiling, saying there is an end to this, there is a light at the end of it, keep your spirits up, because when you come out, you still have to be a father, you still have to be a mother, you still have to be, the person that you left. So keep smiling, man. Keep telling your story.
That's right, man. And I think that's what they can't take. Even if they lock us up, they can't take our voice away. That's, that First Amendment, we speak, and God gives us power in truth because he is the author of that. And Satan, like I said, he wants to speak in these half-truths and partial truths. And one of my favorite quotes is St. Augustine says, truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. You just let it loose and it'll defend itself. And that's the truth. That's why I've gone pretty loud and done 40 plus interviews because my story hasn't changed and I have the truth on my side. Therefore, God is on our side when we're speaking the truth, right? We're not trying to deceive. We're not hiding in the dark. And God is not about fear. Satan gives us fear and anxiety and all that. And I'm not scared to go to prison. I'm going to be loud if I get off or if I go in. I'm going to keep being loud and speaking truth. And I think we're in a Luke 8:17 moment, Adam, which is, it says everything that's hidden is being exposed. God will expose everything that's hidden. Everything that's been whispered in the dark will be shouted from the rooftops. And we're seeing an awakening that God is behind. I believe there's a false awakening, I think, too. But I think there is a true awakening that people are seeing. Wow, if there is this much evil and deception in the world, there maybe is a real God. Maybe there is truth. That's so it's making people have the spiritual awakening and question. It says, let God be truth and every man a liar. Because there's a great quote. If you can be bought off, then that's your price. You can. We can all be compromised.
You're right. Okay, Luke, Adam, thank you for coming on. We got to do 2 ad reads. Thank you for helping out my buddy Luke. I'll connect you guys because I know he could use some of your guidance because you are so positive. So we got to say goodbye already. Adam, you want to shout anything out before you got to go?
You can follow me on Twitter at Lectern Leader. Alex, thank you so much for always giving J6'ers a voice on your show. It means the world to me. Luke, good luck, man. All the love in the world and all the prayers.
God bless you, Adam. Thank you, brother.
See ya. All right, guys. Now, Blaze Media. If you like this show, you're going to love the merch we have for the Pimp on a Blimp. Go to blazemediashop.com today, and you can check out everything from our Pimp on a Blimp t-shirts and hats, our Big Booty Latina icon stickers, and a whole lot more. And, of course, there's all the other Blaze Media merchandise right there at the tip of your fingertips. Excuse me, I'm about to hiccup. We also have a new Chat Rat logo shirt coming out next week, so be on the lookout for that. All right, now, what do we have next? Now we got to react to the clips.
The Boeing clip.
Can you believe this? So, Luke, we were talking about this before. The Boeing whistleblower, and there's been multiple whistleblowers that have died that they're blowing the whistle. It sounds redundant to say that whistleblower blowing the whistle, but on the Boeing 737 planes and how the safety inspections on them, a lot of times the mechanics that were actually doing the mechanical work were the same people that inspected it, which is not the proper procedure. You'd obviously have somebody else inspect it. So now the guy did an undercover video where everybody at the Boeing factory said that they would be too scared to fly on these planes. So Boeing their stocks plummeting, and I fly Boeing all the time. But just today, or excuse me, last night, a Boeing 777 plunged 6,000 feet out of the air, killing one person because, it was anti-gravity or whatever. Everybody just, went to the roof and they hit the roof so hard they died. So do we have a saw or anything?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, let's play a little clip. Look at that. So that's the plane. Everything went up in the air. As soon as it died down, like all the masts came down. I mean, look how or maybe the masts didn't come down. I can't tell. Oh, it looks like they did.
It came down. Yeah, they came down.
Yeah, and they just trash. And I fly every weekend. And now this is a Boeing 777, and this is actually one of the safest airplanes out there, the Boeing 777. It's like one of their flagship planes. It's the one that does all the long flights. Like if you're flying New York to, Italy or something, or Dallas to Italy, you'd fly on one of these planes. And now a person died. So This is I have a plan to be able to fix Boeing planes.
Really?
It's a very simple trick. We stop flying, guys. We're just gonna have to stop. The government scared us. Just drive from now on. Buy a Toyota and just drive everywhere because there is going to be a plane that crashes soon. I'm still going to fly on the plane because I'm a pimp on a blimp. I got to get places quick. But if you're just a normal person with your wife and kids, do not get on a Boeing airplane right now. You will probably be injured. And I hope Boeing doesn't sue us for that. But I don't trust Boeing at all. The whistleblower, did you see he killed himself and he was wearing a Tommy Bahama shirt, Luke? Nobody's ever killed themselves wearing a Tommy Bahama shirt. Makes no sense.
I mean, didn't they all choked on the whistle? Is that how they died?
Yeah, like that, but on bump.
I mean, is that what happens? I mean, they just mysteriously, they're picking the wrong whistle.
They're suiciding themselves like Hillary Clinton style. Yeah. Oh, and now we got to do Cash Brew. Okay, guys, also, please support me, the Pimp on a Blimp. Guys, our show tonight, it would be, I like that graphic that we just played. It'd be really nice, if we always need more viewers, but even the viewership we have, I'm very thankful for. And if you guys want to support me and the show, go to cashbrew.com, use the promo code PRIMETIME. That's going to get you 10% off. And tell Tim I sent you. So, let me do the ad read. Born of a desire for a bold coffee and a need to build companies that support American values, Cash Brew Coffee provides an alternative to the faceless corporate ecosystem and fosters a parallel economy that truly supports freedom. Try my own personal blend, Alex Stein's Primetime Grind. It's a dark roast, 100% organic ground coffee with 2 times the amount of caffeine. It's the strongest coffee on the internet. Buying Cash Brew supports the show so that I can interview heroes like General Michael Flynn. If you don't buy this, then you hate freedom and probably love Hunter Biden. Just visit cashbrew.com, promo code PRIMETIME to save 10% off your purchase. Okay, but let's not play the General Flynn clip. We'll just end with the General Flynn clip. Let's react to the other stuff, and then we'll.
You want to pull up Nick Rekieta?
I do want to say.
Luke wants to say something.
The Cash Brew coffee. If you can't see a close up of it, but. The picture they have chosen for our friend Prime Stein, it looks like the Elephant Man.
Yeah, I know.
It really does. So you get a picture of him as the Elephant Man. I'm not an animal,
No, I'm not an animal. I'm just trying to get laid.
Yeah.
Okay, now we got to talk about a serious subject. As a person that knows people, my best friend, we didn't even talk about it. Hank Keller recently passed away, and he liked to drink this and that, and a lot of people, I'm sure they've had trouble, substance abuse issues. Well, a guy that we like, a guy by the name of Nick Rekieta, is going viral on the internet for his latest clip of him streaming. He's currently in a lawsuit with this guy Montegraph because he called him a pedophile, and Nick's not doing very well in the case. It's costing him a lot of money. I don't think that Nick should have called Montegraph a pedophile. The guy's actually very nice. He's not a pedophile. But since he decided to do this, it's causing him a lot of repercussions in his personal life. So let's play this clip of Nick, and we're going to do a little intervention. So let's play the clip. So now he starts biting his finger and moving his shoulder. If you just had to guess what he was doing right there. He's squinting his eyes, and he thinks the camera's off.
Why is my camera still on?
That's pretty bad, dude.
I mean, typically use the shake wake with 2 hands.
I know, dude. He's sitting there.
He's not shake weighting it, and it's usually up closer to your mouth. So he's down below. Yeah.
He's not doing exercise. We know that. I mean, he's exercising something, and this is Nick Rekieta. At one point, he was the top super chat earner on YouTube during the Johnny Depp trial. And he's also covered a bunch of other trials and stuff. He's a law tuber. And I just wanted to show this clip because I'm worried about your health, Nick. I know a lot of people are clipping you. They're making fun of you. I'm not even trying to make fun of you. I just want to have a serious intervention where we can all go around and say something nice and encouraging for you to hopefully help you. And Nick, even if you don't want to get sober because you're stressed, you need to probably get sober for your family. I believe you have 5 kids. You're married. These people depend on you. And even if you are financially okay and you are a functioning alcoholic, posting yourself on the internet completely shit-faced and potentially jerking, your junk.
Jeffrey Toobin in it.
Jeffrey Toobin vibes. And this is a guy that's probably made fun of Jeffrey Toobin a lot, and then he became what he made fun of.
Yeah.
So please, Nick, for not for yourself. Do this for your family. And I think that you are a talented commentator, but all of that talent goes out the window when you're wasted and you're playing with yourself on camera. So now can we all go around and say something nice? Jimmy and Brandon?
Nick, I don't know you personally, but I just know that there's a lot of people who care about you, Nick. So please don't go down that dark rabbit hole. And we all support you here at Primetime.
Yeah, so I had Nick Rekieta on You Are Here, and he was like one of my favorite guests. We had a good time. But I have dealt with substance abuse and addiction. I've seen it firsthand, and I can tell you pretty clearly you're gonna be dead in about 6 months because he's not looking good. So yeah, now's a good time to tap out because it's gonna get significantly worse.
We like you alive, Nick.
Yeah,
Luke, would you like to say something?
I mean, I think there was clear. I mean, let's go like spiritual. I mean, there's a spirit on that guy. I mean, there's a masturbation spirit, you know, some lust.
Well, they
lust
say
demon.
that he supposedly
little lust demon.
there's a lust demon on it because
Come on, man. You made me
well, no, he supposedly does like to go to the hedonism resort. He does.
Yeah. He's opened some gateways, but it's all through, you know, alcohol or addiction, you know. So, you know, maybe get to the spiritual root. You know, is there some trauma that you need to deal with in your childhood? You can trace a lot of stuff back to your childhood trauma.
I think he's talked about it on stream that like one time his dad told him that he wore dresses or something as a kid. Don't quote me. I'm just saying, Nick, we want you to, you know, forgive your father, forgive yourself if you did wear the dresses as a kid, and just focus on trying to get clean, get sober, and being a good father for your kids. I could sit here and dunk on you. I don't want to dunk on you. You know, I've had embarrassing moments. I've never cranked it on cam and, you know, been so wasted. I couldn't.
yet.
Fobbing? What is it? Or
Gooning.
gooning?
He was in his
flogging
goon
the
cave.
dolphin?
They say that is kind of a goon cave because that's his studio inside of his house, and I don't think his kids are allowed in there. So that might be the only place where you normally pleasure yourself, but I would just suggest not pleasuring yourself. If you did that, it seemed like you did that. There's a lot of evidence that would point that you were, you know, self-gratifying your wiener, but I don't know. But I do know that you were heavily intoxicated and not in the right mind. And I'm sorry that you're going viral, but I think that this would be a missed opportunity if we didn't cover this and try to say that there's help out there for you. And if nobody else will help you, call me. I'll try to get you connected with a drug and alcohol counselor that can help get you on the right path. So, yeah, we're rooting for you, Nick. We're rooting for you. All right, now, speaking of a guy we're not rooting for, what do you think about Puff Daddy beating up Cassidy like that?
I mean,
the chair's broken, of course, Luke. It's probably not going to break anymore. If you lean on it, it goes all the way back, too. But what do you think about Puff Daddy?
well, I think P.Diddy has a lot of issues. Pedophilia being one of the P's for Puff. But, yeah, he's trying to walk it back. I saw his video that he's apologizing. It's like... You wait till you got caught, bro. You know,
it's 8 years old.
I mean, it's like you should have come out as soon as it had happened and said, you know, whenever you make amends after the fact, not when you get caught. It doesn't look good. Okay.
Well, and I don't want to say this because my girlfriend Paige, she did make fun of me for this. And after that video came out, I told her, I was like, you know, I feel kind of bad. And she's like, why do you feel bad? I was like, well, when it came out that girl said that Puff Daddy beat her up, I was like, you know, my first initial thoughts, like, you know, Puff Daddy probably didn't beat her up. She just wanted money. Just because I'm so cynical. And now after seeing that video, she probably got beat up every single day. So I want to apologize. Is her name Cassidy? I don't know what her name is, but I just want to apologize for not believing all
I went through the court documents that they released for that, and yeah, it's pretty bad. He was whooping her on the rag. They're definitely going to get him for something. Whitlock.
No, they're not, Brandon. They're not going to get him for anything. He's a CIA asset.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Old.
Whitlock says he works for the CIA. Do you think, and he was saying Diddy should come out and flip and expose that, and maybe he could get back a little bit.
And go to jail for life? Yeah, right, dude.
Well, I think his life's probably ruined one way or the other.
I don't know if he has millions of dollars. I mean, I think he's going to be okay. He had vote or die. Like, he was tight with, he's been tight with the Democrats since like the 90s. So
yeah.
If you don't think that he's as highly connected, like Kamala Harris would probably pardon him. I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Biden pardoned him.
You think that's proof that he's probably a Fed, is that he's still not in jail? Because that's kind of what I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the most proof.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is I think this is crappy fog cover for all the other
pedophiles,
dark,
freaks.
trafficking, stuff that is not, now all of a sudden we're talking about beating up a lady, which is still very, horrible. But it's like, we're talking about that instead of like, well, he's trafficking children and has been a part of probably a much like a Jeffrey Epstein blackmail operation via the CIA. And by the way, we can talk about this too, but the CIA, I mean, have you all heard the connection between the prison system and connected to the music
private
industry?
Prison industry is all funded by the top rappers, music labels. They all fund it.
And that's what I'm saying. When I was in prison and they watched this, it was not MTV of late. It was the biggest gangbanging rap, like dark rap stuff I've ever seen.
Was it BET? What channel was it?
No, some channel I've never seen other than in this prison, and they're watching it all day, like celebrating and and it's programming them,
to live a degenerate life, so that
to celebrate the degenerate life, and the fact that they're in prison and in a gang, and they're like celebrating it. I mean, it's just so it all goes back to like, yes, I believe that. I mean, they're just trying to. Again, when they start elevating like this video that's been there 8 years, now it makes its way. Like, what is the bigger story? We forgot about that he's, linked to CIA and human trafficking and these blackmail operations, and we're talking about this one story, and now he's coming out. Sorry about that, but what about all this other stuff, doo-doo that he's in?
Well, let's watch this video. This is Cameron. They had him on CNN, and I watched his reaction to this viral video, and he said that he was so mad because that he went on the show thinking they were going to talk about Puff Daddy, but he wanted to talk about his popular podcast with Mace. He wanted to talk about some of the good things he does in the community, but all they wanted to talk about was Puff Daddy. So he has this Cameron. He's the same guy. He's had legendary interviews with Bill O'Reilly, so he likes to go on there and act a fool. Let's watch this clip.
Treated his artists.
So I'm going to get some cheeks after this horsepower joint.
Yeah. What
That's
about
a
the
sexual
industry in
stimulant
general? I mean,
drink.
so many people have pointed out that Diddy couldn't get away with this stuff if there weren't a lot of people protecting him. Do you think that's the case?
Who the talent agent for this joint? Like, you think I'll be sitting around watching what Diddy do and all this? I didn't know this was a Diddy joint that y'all invited me to. Who booked me for this joint?
All right.
Look at Abby. She didn't know what the hell to do.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Man, come on, man.
Thanks for joining us. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me. You enjoy.
That's a little bad.
No, play the beginning one more time, George, where he drinks it. He says, I'm going to smack the cheeks. What does he say? That's so funny.
Treated his artists.
A little Baphomet on the shirt here.
So I'm going to get some cheeks after this horsepower joint.
Horsepower, and he sells that. Okay, George, you can cut off. So that's a sexual stimulant drink that he sells on his website. So it's good marketing, I guess. Now we might have to drink some on the show.
I was gonna say we got to do a show where we drink some, right?
I think I was talking to somebody earlier, and they said it's like $40 a shot or something. It's very expensive. As long as Jimmy's paying, I'll drink it.
What is it like? Is it like Viagra in a
it's like liquid Viagra, dog, for clapping cheeks. According to Cameron, I don't know. That's what he said. He said he's about to clap cheeks, and that's why he needs to take it. So.
Yeah, for research purposes, yeah.
He got a free ad right there. That was smart.
That was a free ad, yeah.
He didn't care what was discussed. He didn't want to talk about P.Diddy. He wanted to promote his horse drink. His horse Viagra.
Okay, now a guy that you love. We love this guy. The 46th president of the United States, Joe Biden. Let's watch this clip.
He calls the erectionists who stormed Capitol Hill.
You're an erectionist.
I'd rather be an erectionist than an insurrectionist. So
yeah,
I'll take that label over.
Dude, what about a brand of dick pills for conservatives called erectionists?
Oh, that's good for J6’ers, dude.
Yeah.
We should.
I would make that commercial.
I think we can white label
Maybe
it.
they'll get me back in the commercial game.
Yeah.
That'll be my first product.
Dude, we can.
Jimmy, you want to go in?
Yeah, we can white label it and call it. What do you call it? Erectionist.
Erectionist. Yeah, don't penetrate the White House.
By a real
Dude, no, it's how to penetrate. Dude, so strong it'll help you penetrate the Capitol, dude.
Yeah.
It sells
It writes itself, man.
It writes itself. Like literally, I mean, we have to put that. So Jimmy, write that down right
We
now.
should have shared it on air, though, guys. We got to jump on this before.
I know. Well, you'd be surprised. We probably have a week or two to jump
Well,
on.
and when maybe you go in prison, you sell J6 boner pills.
I don't know if you want to give a bunch of prisoners.
Well, maybe not in prison.
You
maybe
would
talk
love
about
that,
after
Jimmy.
prison.
You would love it if all the guys in prison had big boners.
Yeah,
wouldn't you? Okay.
actually, yeah.
I mean, what the hell are you thinking?
I didn't
man?
think that one through.
No.
Hey, way to make the bit gay. Come on.
Now on, start thinking. So I'm the one that's not supposed to think before he speaks. I need you to. And Jimmy, you cussed out Paula Scanlon last week, dude. That's still not okay.
I know that's why I have hot sauce
Yeah,
now.
but dude, I don't care how much hot sauce you drink. Don't cuss out our guest, dude. I mean, like, what are you doing?
Luke, just so you don't. Well, you'll judge me regardless, but she called me a pedophile, and it hurt my
He
feelings.
is a pedophile adjacent. He went to school at Princeton. Jimmy went to school for Princeton, and this guy, what's the guy's name?
Trey Farmer.
Trey Farmer. He was the head of Princeton's queer club, and he goes, Jimmy's going this weekend to the biggest Princeton reunion, and this guy would go to the reunions all the time where Jimmy goes, and he just got caught with a bunch of child porn. He's one of the most famous graduates, and Jimmy loved the guy. I mean, tangentially, because they were both colleagues at the same school. Is that right? Colleagues or peers? Whatever. I'm just saying you guys went to the same school. So Jimmy's
Did you get any pedo vibes from him, Jimmy?
Yeah. Did you?
Not really.
Yeah.
That's weird too, because like the fact that you can't tell a pedophile is right in front of your face.
I feel like we.
I was a little too old for him.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, I get Jimmy. Like Jimmy's a father now. The last thing you want to be called is a pedophile when you're a father.
That's true. I don't think you're a pedophile, Jimmy. I've always made that very clear. I do not.
That's why it was just a reaction, and I immediately said, "Oh gosh, I should have said that," and that's why I pour hot sauce on my tongue.
Yeah, but nobody cares about the hot sauce. Stop saying that.
We all got to tame the tongue.
Yeah.
Including
in the chat. I don't know if they'll like this, but I even told Jimmy, I go, Jimmy, you're the producer. You produce a lot of stuff. I said, Jimmy, you're not supposed to cuss. I can cuss. I'm the show host. You're the producer. You're not supposed to cuss. And
Nope.
Jimmy still cusses at the guests. Can you believe that?
You fucking idiot.
I know.
You're not supposed to cuss either, guys. I don't know why you guys have to cuss to try to make me look bad. I mean, I forget.
Jimmy
See, that's the other thing. Jimmy and Brandon, they think it's their show sometimes. They think if they're on the Jimmy and Brandon show and not Primetime with Alex Stein, which is annoying, and that's probably why we have low viewership. But, hey, that's neither here nor there. Because
Jimmy will stop if your little girl's watching, So just pretend that maybe she's going to watch one of these old episodes.
That's what I'm saying. Why don't you treat it like your daughter's watching the show?
It is a kid's show.
It is a kid's show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Sometimes Brandon and Jimmy, they like to, Brandon has a podcast, Jimmy has a TikTok, so, they obviously want to get some clout and attention themselves, and sometimes they use the show as a vehicle for that attention, and I think at the end of the day, sometimes it hurts the show, but you could never tell them wrong, because, like Jimmy, for instance, I got upset at Jimmy for doing a bunch of insubordination and not filming and stuff, and then the week that he did all this insubordination, he went and I asked him, I was like, Jimmy, I need you to stop ingratiating yourself and making the show about you. He actually asked one of our guests if he could open for me. He's never met the comedian ever. Never met the comedian. He only talked to him on social media and said, hey, can I open up for you at a comedy club?
Yeah.
And he doesn't realize there's supposed to be boundaries that you're supposed to have.
I don't know. I mean, I think I give it to Jimmy. You got to put yourself out there, Jimmy.
He does. He puts himself out there a lot.
Be shameless, bro.
Yeah.
This guy started. We're talking to Mr. Shameless himself.
I know.
You only have this show because you're the most shameless person, and fearless, bro.
Yes, yeah.
So,
but Jimmy's never
don't
had.
talk down to Jimmy.
I had to talk down to Jimmy. Jimmy's never had hot coffee thrown on him. Jimmy's never been spat on. Jimmy's never been beat up at a protest. Jimmy's never confronted AOC.
Different style of comedy than you, bro.
I know, but his style is mooching from our guests, all right? You have to create your own lane to drive in. You don't drive in other people's lane. Okay, now let's check out this insane prenup. SOT number
4.
The most shocking prenup I've ever seen, which was enforceable, had a provision that said that for every 10 pounds the wife gained in the marriage, she would lose $10,000 a month in alimony. He was very concerned that she was going to become less attractive and he was going to become more wealthy. So his solution to this was in the prenuptial agreement. He wanted a clause that said if they divorced, she was going to get like $70,000 a month for alimony. But for every 10 pounds she gained from the date of marriage, she would forfeit $10,000 a month worth of alimony. And it was designed to sort of create an incentive that she would remain thin. And that was enforceable, meaning they tried to challenge and set aside that provision. And the court said, this is a disgusting provision. I don't know why you married this person, but it's enforceable. It's a contract. The two of you signed.
Another thing, Jimmy's in my ear saying we need to move on. Jimmy, we started the show 5 minutes late. Do you not remember that?
Well, I said after this, we can go to Michael Flynn.
I know. But so I was going to say we're going to end the show, so we got 5 more minutes, and then we'll play the Michael Flynn clip. Is that okay with you, Jimmy?
That's great.
Is that okay? I know it's a Jimmy Von Thron show. It's always a Jimmy Von Thron show. No, it's just, Luke, it's just very frustrating, Luke, because these two guys, as I told you, my contract is up in 6 months, and I definitely want to be renewed. I want to continue working at the Blaze. But sometimes I don't think Brandon and Jimmy have the same, I guess, urgency that I have. And it's very frustrating because, like, you look at the numbers that are watching our show right now. I'm not. Are you happy with the numbers of the people that are watching our show right now, Jimmy?
No, I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm not happy. Well, maybe because we started 5 minutes late. Maybe that messed it up.
If prime
And then
goes,
listen to this.
if prime time goes, does Jimmy go?
No, Jimmy gets to stay here. That's what's crazy. Brandon's worked on 2 shows. The last 2 shows Brandon works on, the host left. He got to keep his job. Like Jimmy and them, they're probably going to be fine. It's going to be me that probably has to go. But so they don't have, as much skin in the game. And I try to tell them, like, hey guys, let's focus. Let's pick things up. Let's try to start the show on time. Let's try to, like last week, the mic didn't work for the first 5 minutes of the show. The mic did not work.
It's live TV. I mean, you got to give some grace.
You're so nice.
Come
I know.
on. No, I've worked in production a long time. You got to give grace. Stuff's gonna go wrong when it's on live. Watch SNL.
I know, but this is another thing is, dude, you saw me. You remember when I was at my home studio grinding it 6 days a week? How hard I was.
4 hour, like.
I do shows all night. I would stream all night, and I finally get here. And you know what's sad is that even though our channel's getting more viewers, my Conspiracy Castle was getting more views per episode than this show. And I didn't. I was one person producing it myself, and I got Jimmy, I got Brandon, I got a whole team of people here, and still my views are not as good as my other podcasts. So like me, if I had to guess, I would think that the Blaze is probably not going to renew me. Just be like,
hey, don't put that out there. Don't put that out there.
I know, but it's just obvious because like we have low numbers here, so it just sucks. I just would like it if Jimmy and Brandon would help me make the show better and try to, I don't know, cuss at the guests or make the microphones work. Or that we had General Flynn, and the General Flynn left with the microphone today. We forgot to take the microphone off General Flynn.
Well, comes out of the budget, huh?
That comes out of the budget. Yeah, that comes out of the overall budget. Yeah. So it's little whoopsie poopsie things like that. I know that they're not doing it on purpose. Maybe they are doing it on purpose. I don't know. Maybe that's a conspiracy. But I just know that Brandon and Jimmy.
Maybe Jimmy wants the throne. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Jimmy wants the throne. Jimmy wants the throne.
No.
Jimmy.
I mean,
Jimmy.
I couldn't do Alex's job.
It'd be a different show, but it'd be the Jimmy show. I mean,
I helped Jimmy get a job here.
Show. No one would watch that. No one wants that
Nobody
show.
watches this show, Jimmy. So what does it matter, dude? Nobody's watching this one anyway. So you got your wish because nobody watches your show. Nobody watches this show, and that's just how it goes. Okay, Luke, we got to end the show. Tell them where they can find you and how they can support you.
I'm at Lukewarm Coffee on Instagram. Just pray for, what God's will in my trial, because I hope my trial, it would be one of 2 full acquittals if I'm acquitted. But it will also show injustice because my whole trial is built on intent, and I had complete intent to be a peacemaker and de-escalate things. So regardless, it's in God's hands, and I trust in that. But just pray for the J6’ers. There's one guy I need to mention, Colt Maccabee. He was up there trying to stop Lila Morris from beating Roseanne Boylan, who passed away. He's been in prison he got 7 years. He's been in prison for 3 years. He's a deputy sheriff. His wife, Sarah Maccabee's out there. She's in front of Congress speaking out. There's great men, the Westbury boys, who are trying to de-escalate things. People, my client, my new lawyer's client, Anthony Sabatini's new client is Isabella DeLuca.
Yeah,
her and other people literally just touched a table as it pushed past them, and they're getting felony assault with a deadly weapon because that table could have been used as a deadly weapon in an insurrection that never happened. People, wake up, talk to your other neighbors, talk to people about the truth, and find other J6’ers and support them. There's 1,500 of us. We're political prisoners, people that are still locked away. Just keep this on the forefront of the election talk, and we should be pardoned, especially.
Yeah, and this goes to Trump. Let me cut you off. Donald Trump, if you watch this, if you see this, we love you, Donald Trump. Luke loves you, but you need to pardon these January 6’ers. You need to that needs to be the first thing you do when you get into office. Not that I need to tell you what to do, President Trump. I'm just saying you got to help these young men. These are people that love
women
their country.
too. Yeah,
and women. I'm just saying.
We were there that day to stand for America and everything that is good and what we love about this country. And people are still being persecuted 3.5 years later, and that are going to see long-term prison time, while pro-Palestine people, BLM, Antifa, they get slaps on the wrist and they do a night in jail and are let go. There is a 2-tiered justice system. We need to speak out. I'm going to be loud and annoying until there's a change or until I'm put back in prison. So Thank you for having me on, brother.
And Luke, you always got a gig. I said, if you do some time, I'll always got your back. I need to be the first person you call. All right, guys, this has been a great episode. Please clip it, share it, make sure to get Luke's word out. Now we're going to play a clip. We were going to play it earlier. We kind of ran out of time, had some snafus with the stream. Watch this clip from my interview with General Michael Flynn this afternoon. Full thing is on BlazeTV. Love you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an incredible interview in store for you right now. We welcome on 3-star general, former Trump National Security Advisor, the one, the only, General Michael Flynn. General Flynn, welcome to the show.
Why are you being so serious?
Well, because I got to be serious because you know why?
I hope we're live.
Are
we live?
We're live, but I have to be honest. I have a copy of Hunter Biden's laptop. Could I be in trouble for being in possession of this?
All right. Yeah, actually, there's a lot of people that are in possession of that.
Well, I don't want to get in trouble, General Flynn. I don't want to. No. Oh, I don't want to go to jail, General Flynn. Please.
You should be a rock star,
yeah, General. I don't want to go to jail. Yeah,
I want to try.
Okay. We don't want anything. I have nothing to do with this laptop. That's not.
I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with that.
Hunter tried to do that. He tried to do that, but it didn't work for him.
Well, and let's be real right now. Donald Trump's being a sham trial like this. If he wins a presidency, which I think he will, is he going to have to go through the same thing he went through in his first presidency, getting impeached?
Oh, God help us if he does. If they try that for a minute, he ought to pull an Abraham Lincoln on him and remove the writ of habeas corpus.
Well, and then he gets all.
And what does that mean?
Yeah,
what does that mean? What does that mean? People need to go back and look at what Abraham Lincoln did to continue to unite the country during the middle of the Civil War. And we're in the middle of a war right now. We have a civil war going on in this country. It's definitely a cultural war, and all kinds of other aspects of it. But we can't continue to sustain this country with this kind of an attitude by a very small minority of these Marxist thugs that are in the Just Us system. And that Just Us system includes the law enforcement community, the senior law enforcement organization in this country. It includes elements of the intelligence community. And it includes like I don't know if you saw James Comey today on MSNBC. So now they're starting to deploy these people that should keep their mouths shut. Comey's out on I shouldn't even have said what their acronym was, but
no, Just Us. What is the acronym? What does it say?
Well, the Comey comes out today and he says how if Trump is elected, God help us, we're gonna he's going to be vindictive. He's going to go after. He's going to be like a dictator. I mean, give me a break, Comey. I mean, this is today. He came out this morning, and then a couple of weeks ago, I talk about this in this tour that we're on right now, because the one thing that I warned Trump about was a guy named Andrew McCabe, the deputy director of the FBI at the time that I was still in the government. And the other day, like a couple of weeks ago, probably 2, maybe 3 weeks ago now, McCabe comes out and says, it's regrettable. It is regrettable how they lied to a FISA court to get warrants to spy on guys like Carter Page, myself, Papadopoulos, and these other named individuals, in order to undermine not only the campaign of Donald J. Trump, but the presidency of Donald J. Trump. And then that continued all the way through his administration. Andy McCabe says it is regrettable. And I'm in one of those moods today, so I don't want to use too
crazy.
Much Irish.
No, please be as Irish as possible.
Well, fuck Andy McCabe and Jim Comey, excuse me, because of their shitty attitude and their friggin' treasonous behavior while they were serving in some of the most important critical positions in our national security system of in our government. Director of the FBI, deputy director of the FBI.
Let me give you some kickback.
These people committed treason, and everybody in this country knows it. They know it. They're scared to death. And now what they want to try to do is they want to try to get their little faces out there, and they want to try to tell everybody how bad Orange Man's going to be, and because they're afraid. They're afraid because the American people have had enough of this bullshit. They have had enough of this sham set of trials. But this judge is going. You saw what he did, right? Where he said, okay, he sent the jury out and says, you're going to come back next week. So he's going to give instructions as we sit here right now. Are we live?
No, we're not.
Okay. As we sit here right now, and as you see this tonight, this judge gave both sides, the prosecution and the defense, Trump's lawyers, instructions today about what they can do and what they can't do during their closing arguments, which will be next week. So this judge is basically going to withhold. He's going to withhold the defense from being able to say things to the jury. And if they say things to the jury next week when they come back, which I think will be Tuesday, if the defense tries to insert something that is true, that they know is true, this judge is going to stop that closing argument. He's going to send the jury out, and he's going to hold that lawyer in contempt.
Yeah, but CNN already
that's
said...
That's how bad we are. That's how bad things are.
But General Flynn, let me get one word in. But
you want me to run the show or what?
I know, but CNN just said that he's going to lose the case because Michael Cohen laundered money from Trump anyway.
It doesn't matter. See, this is the thing. It's like law doesn't matter, Alex.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Law doesn't matter. If it mattered, we wouldn't have any of these things. Look at what, thank God, the judge down in the Miami case, the Mar-a-Lago classified case, thank God she's reasonable, right? And she seems like she follows the law. And she realized that she caught Jack Smith, who was a extortionist, okay? Yep. So Jack Smith committed extortion while he was in the Hague, and there's clear evidence. So they got to go do the follow up on the investigation. But this is a guy who should not even be a special counsel. He's investigating the former, the president of the United States of America. So at least that judge had the guts to say, we're putting everything on hold. And I actually think that she's contemplating going after, ethically at least, Smith. This guy, Marchant, whatever his name is, all this stuff about his daughter, right? You ought to go.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's been donating. Just AOC was defending her daughter. Yeah. I mean, they've gotten, hundreds of thousands of dollars in political contributions. Every politician in D.C.
You know who her boss is? So her boss, her immediate boss, is Lisa Page. Okay? Lisa Page. So your audience is going, who the hell is Lisa Page? Lisa Page was the number 2 lawyer at the FBI under Jim Comey. She was the lover and, married at the time. She slept with Peter Strzok, who was the head of counterespionage for the FBI at the time. So Lisa Page and Marchant's daughter, and this is the connection because they all use different names. They don't use their married names, so they're able to operate in this swampiness of, frankly, it's not just Washington, D.C., it's everywhere.
All over.
Never mind the money that flows through Shifty Schiff, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have an incredible